My mother-in-law claimed I was keeping her son from the family until his brother asked why she never invited us. That single question at Thanksgiving dinner changed everything. The room went silent. Aunt Diane stopped mid-bite. Uncle Mark's fork clattered. My husband Ethan froze beside me, his hand tightening around mine. What do you mean? His mother stammered, her face pale. Exactly what I said. Ethan's brother Lucas continued. You've hosted 12 family dinners this year. Pool parties, barbecues, holiday celebrations. How many times did you invite Ethan and his wife? The silence stretched. My mother-in-law's mouth opened and closed. For 3 years, I'd been the villain in her narrative, the woman who stole her golden boy, the selfish wife who isolated him from his loving family. She'd told anyone who would listen how I refused to bring Ethan around, how I monopolized his time, how I was poisoning him against his own blood. And I'd believed I deserved it, that maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. We've been together, Ethan said quietly. The whole time we've been right here, 20 minutes away. I remembered every slight, the birthday party we learned about from Facebook photos, the family reunion we discovered when his cousin posted group shots, the Christmas dinner his mother swore was just immediate family until his sister uploaded an album with 43 people. Each time I'd suggested we reach out. Maybe we'd misunderstood. Maybe the invitation got lost. Maybe we should just show up. Ethan would shake his head, exhausted. If they wanted us there, they'd ask. His mother had weaponized our absence at events we were never invited to. She'd shown up at Ethan's office twice, crying about how I'd built walls between them. She'd called his friends, expressing concern about his isolation. She'd even contacted his boss, worried about his mental state. I'd started doubting myself. Was I too possessive? Did I unconsciously discourage family time? I began tracking every interaction, documenting every text suggesting we visit. The evidence sat in my phone. 47 unanswered messages over 2 years. Marilyn, Lucas said, his voice hardening. Answer the question. She turned to Ethan with tears in her eyes. You know you're always welcome, sweetheart. You don't need an invitation. That's not how you treat everyone else, Lucas countered. You called Dad's sister 8 times about tonight's menu. You mailed formal invitations to the cousins. You drove to my apartment to make sure I was coming. The mask was cracking. Her hands trembled as she reached for her wine. And when she spoke again, her voice had an edge I'd never heard. Well, maybe if she hadn't gotten pregnant and trapped him. I had a miscarriage, I said flatly. At 9 weeks. You never asked about it. We lost our baby, and you sent a text that said, everything happens for a reason. Ethan stood abruptly, his chair scraping against hardwood. We're leaving. As we gathered our coats, I heard Lucas's voice behind us. There's something else you need to know. Something I found that explains everything. Ethan's hand froze on the doorknob. We both turned. Lucas was holding his phone, his expression dark. I was helping Marilyn set up her computer. I found emails. Lots of them. My blood ran cold. What kind of emails? Ethan whispered. Lucas's jaw clenched. Emails declining family invitations, canceling plans, telling relatives you two were too busy, all sent from an account pretending to be Ethan. The room erupted. But I was watching my mother-in-law's face. The way her eyes darted toward the door. The way her fingers gripped the tablecloth. The way she looked at Lucas not with confusion, but with pure fury. You had no right to go through my computer, she hissed. There it was. Not a denial, not shock, just anger at being caught. Lucas pulled up the emails on his phone and started reading aloud. From Ethan Carter 247@gmail.com. Sorry, Mom. We can't make it to Dad's birthday. Work project came up. Sent June 15th. He scrolled. Here's another. Thanks for the invite to the reunion, but we're going to pass this year. August 3rd. Ethan's actual email was ethanjcarter@gmail.com. He'd had it since college. How many? Ethan asked, his voice barely audible. Lucas kept scrolling. I stopped counting at 35. Aunt Diane found her voice first. Marilyn, what the hell? My mother-in-law's face had gone from pale to crimson. I was protecting my family. She was taking him away from us. By lying? Uncle Mark stood up, his chair scraping. By sabotaging your own son? You don't understand, she said, her voice rising. I saw what was happening. He stopped calling every day. He missed Sunday dinners, he was slipping away, and she was the reason. He got married, Mom, Lucas said. That's what adults do. They build their own lives. I built that life. She slammed her hand on the table, making the silverware jump. I raised him. I sacrificed everything for him. I was the one who sat through every soccer game, every parent-teacher conference, every scraped knee and broken heart. And then she shows up and suddenly I'm nothing? The truth was spilling out now, ugly and raw. I tried to be welcoming at first, she continued, her voice shaking. I invited them to everything, but then she started changing him. He'd correct my stories. He'd defend her opinions over mine. He'd choose her family's holidays over ours. So yes, I stopped inviting them. And when people asked where Ethan was, I told them the truth, that his wife had him under her thumb. Except that wasn't the truth, Ethan said quietly. You created a fake email account to decline invitations we never received, then used our absence as proof that we didn't care about the family. I was making a point, she snapped, showing everyone what you were really like. What I was really like? Ethan's voice was getting louder. Or what you told yourself I was like to justify cutting us out. Ethan's father had been silent this whole time, sitting at the head of the table with his hands folded. Now he spoke. How long, Marilyn? Don't you start. She whirled on him. You know exactly how I feel about this. How long have you been sending those emails? She pressed her lips together. Answer me. Since their wedding, she whispered. 3 years. She'd been doing this for 3 years. Jesus Christ, Lucas muttered. Ethan's sister Rachel, who'd been watching from the kitchen doorway, finally stepped in. Is that why you told me not to give them your new address when you moved? My mother-in-law's eyes went wide. She hadn't realized Rachel was there. What? Ethan turned to his sister. Rachel's voice was shaking. 2 months ago. Mom said you guys were too busy with your own lives to care about family stuff anymore. She said it would just be awkward if I invited you to the housewarming party. I had a housewarming party, my mother-in-law said defensively. You weren't excluded. You just weren't there. Because we didn't know about it. I finally found my voice. It came out louder than I intended. We didn't know about any of it. The birthday parties, the barbecues, Rachel's promotion celebration, Lucas's engagement announcement. We found out about all of it from social media after the fact. You could have called, she shot back. You could have made an effort. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands. I have 47 text messages to you over the past 2 years, asking how you're doing, suggesting we grab lunch, inviting you to our apartment. Want to see how many you responded to? I already knew the answer. 3. 3 short responses in 2 years, each one a variation of busy right now, maybe later. Lucas was still scrolling through the fake email account. Here's one from last month. Thanks for thinking of us for Thanksgiving, but we made other plans. Except you're literally here right now. That was before, my mother-in-law stammered. I sent that weeks ago. Then I changed my mind and invited them properly. No, Ethan said. Rachel invited us. She texted me directly last week. Rachel nodded. Mom didn't want me to. She said it would be uncomfortable. But you did it anyway. My mother-in-law's voice was cold now, directed at Rachel. Just like Lucas, going through my private things. My own children, betraying me. Betraying you? Lucas looked incredulous. You've been running a 3-year smear campaign against Ethan and his wife. You created a fake identity to manipulate family relationships. You made everyone think they were the problem when you were the one pushing them out. Aunt Diane was reading over Lucas's shoulder now. Oh my God, here's one to me. Aunt Diane, we appreciate the birthday invite, but we're not really doing family events this year. That's why I stopped inviting you to book club, she said to me. I thought you were trying to distance yourself from the family. And here's one to Dad's brother, Lucas continued, declining the fishing trip, and one to cousin Jennifer about the baby shower. The baby shower. I'd seen the photos on Facebook. An entire family celebration for Jennifer's first child, and we'd been completely excluded. When I'd commented congratulations on the photos, Jennifer had responded with a curt, thanks, and nothing else. I'd thought she was upset with us. Now I understood. She thought we'd declined her invitation. How could you? Ethan's father's voice was rough. Our own son. I was protecting our family, my mother-in-law insisted. She was taking him away from us, piece by piece. Someone had to do something. So you alienated him completely? His father shook his head. You became the very thing you were afraid of. You pushed him away. I didn't push him anywhere. He chose her over us. Because you made him choose. Lucas slammed his phone down. You created a false narrative, excluded them from everything, then blamed them for not being around. You're the one who broke this family, not them. My mother-in-law's face crumpled. Real tears now. Not the manipulative ones she'd wielded so effectively before. You don't understand what it's like, raising a child, pouring everything into them, then watching someone else become their priority. That's what's supposed to happen, Ethan's father said quietly. That's called growing up. That's called building a life. But I'm his mother. And I'm his wife, I said. But I never tried to take him away from you. I invited you into our lives over and over. I suggested dinners, sent holiday cards, asked about your day. You were the one who shut me out. Because you were trying to replace me. I was trying to be part of your family. My voice broke. Do you know how many times I've cried because I thought I wasn't good enough? Because I couldn't figure out what I'd done wrong? I bent over backwards trying to make you like me, and the whole time you were sabotaging any chance I had. Ethan's hand found mine. His fingers were trembling. And the miscarriage, I continued. We lost our baby at 9 weeks. I was bleeding and scared and grieving, and you sent a text that said, everything happens for a reason. Not a phone call, not a visit, a text. Do you know what that did to me? I didn't know what to say, she whispered. You could have said you were sorry. You could have asked if I was okay. You could have shown up, but you didn't. Because in your mind, losing that baby meant I'd have less of a hold on Ethan. The silence that followed was deafening. That's not, she started. Don't, Ethan said. Don't lie anymore. I saw your face when we told you about the pregnancy. You looked like someone had died. And when we lost the baby, you looked relieved. Ethan, sweetheart, don't call me that. You don't get to call me that anymore. His voice was steady now, cold. You don't get to play the loving mother when you've spent 3 years systematically destroying my relationship with this family. I'm still your mother. You're the woman who gave birth to me, but a mother doesn't do what you did. A mother doesn't lie and manipulate and sabotage her own child's happiness. Rachel was crying now. I can't believe I fell for it. All those times I thought you guys were too busy for us. You never even knew we were asking. It's not your fault, I told her. She's very convincing. How many family members think we're the bad guys? Ethan asked Lucas. Lucas scrolled through his phone. Based on these emails? Most of them. She sent messages to pretty much everyone declining on your behalf. Aunt Diane looked sick. I defended you, Marilyn. When people said you were being too hard on them, I told them you were just a mother who missed her son. I told them to give you grace. You were just selfish, Uncle Mark interrupted. You couldn't handle your son being an adult, so you burned his life down and blamed him for the flames. My mother-in-law looked around the table, finally seeming to realize what she'd lost. Her husband wouldn't meet her eyes. Her children were looking at her like a stranger. Her extended family wore expressions of disgust and pity. I can fix this, she said frantically. I'll tell everyone the truth. I'll explain. Explain what? Ethan asked. That you created a fake email account to impersonate me? That you lied to everyone for 3 years? That you made my wife feel like she wasn't good enough when the problem was always you? I'll make it right. You can't make this right. Ethan grabbed our coats. Come on, let's go. This time, no one stopped us. In the car, neither of us spoke for the first 10 minutes. Ethan's hands were white-knuckled on the steering wheel. I stared out the window, watching familiar streets blur past. I'm sorry, he finally said. For what? For not seeing it sooner. For letting you think any of this was your fault. Stop. I put my hand on his arm. You couldn't have known. I should have known. I should have questioned why we were never invited. I should have... His voice cracked. God, the miscarriage. The way she responded. I told myself she was just bad with emotions, that she didn't know how to handle it. But she was relieved. She was actually relieved that we lost our baby. The dam broke then. He pulled over into an empty parking lot and sobbed. 3 years of gaslighting, manipulation, and pain poured out. I held him while he shook, both of us mourning not just the baby we'd lost, but the family we'd never really had. What do we do now? He asked when he could breathe again. I don't know. My phone buzzed. A text from Lucas. I'm sending you all the screenshots. You'll want documentation. Then Rachel. I'm so sorry. I should have reached out directly years ago. Then Aunt Diane. We owe you both an apology. Can we take you to lunch this week? One by one, family members were texting. Some apologizing, some asking for our side of the story, some just expressing shock, but nothing from his mother, nothing from his father. We drove home in silence. Our apartment felt different somehow. Smaller. We'd built this life together in isolation, convinced we were the problem. Now we knew the truth, but it didn't feel like freedom. It felt like grief. That night, Ethan's father called. Can I come over? He showed up 20 minutes later, looking older than I'd ever seen him. We sat in our living room, the same living room his mother had never visited, despite 3 separate invitations. I didn't know, he said. About the emails, about the extent of it. But I knew she was keeping you at arm's length. I knew she wasn't inviting you to things. And I said nothing. Why? Ethan asked. Because it was easier. His father's voice was rough. Because fighting with your mother is exhausting. Because I told myself it was just a phase, that she'd come around. I took the path of least resistance. And in doing so, I abandoned my son. Ethan looked at his hands. I don't expect forgiveness, his father continued. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what she did, and I see what I allowed to happen by doing nothing. That's almost worse, isn't it? She actively pushed you away. I passively let it happen. What are you going to do? I asked. I don't know yet. He rubbed his face. We've been married for 34 years. I love her, but I don't know who she is right now. The woman who would do this to her own child, who would cause this much pain just to maintain control, I don't know her. She needs help, Ethan said quietly. I know. I'm going to insist on therapy, both individual and couples counseling. If she refuses, he trailed off. I need to think about what that means for us. After he left, Ethan and I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Do you think she'll actually get help? I asked. I don't know. Part of me hopes she will. Part of me doesn't care anymore. That's okay. Is it? She's my mother. She's also the person who spent 3 years making you miserable. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to not care. He rolled toward me. I keep thinking about what she said. About pouring everything into raising me, then watching someone else become my priority. Like loving you was a betrayal. Loving me was growing up. I know that now. But there's this guilt, you know? Like maybe if I'd called more, visited more, made her feel more needed. Stop. I turned to face him. You can't pour from an empty cup. And she was the one who kept punching holes in yours. You don't owe her unlimited access to your life just because she raised you. But she did raise me. She was a good mom for a long time. The soccer games, the homework help, staying up all night when I was sick. That was all real. I know. And that's what makes this so hard. She wasn't always the villain. But somewhere along the way, she decided that being your mother meant owning you. And when she realized she couldn't, she tried to destroy what you'd built instead. We fell asleep holding each other, both of us grieving the family we'd wanted, and the truth we'd finally found. The next morning, my mother-in-law called. Ethan let it go to voicemail. She called 4 more times. Finally, he answered. We need to talk, she said. No apology, no acknowledgement, just a demand. I don't think that's a good idea right now, Ethan replied. I'm your mother. We need to work through this. Work through what exactly? The 3 years of lies? The fake email account? The systematic alienation from my own family? I made mistakes, but you have to understand where I was coming from. I understand perfectly. You couldn't handle me being an adult with my own life, so you sabotaged it. You made everyone think we were the problem so no one would question why we were never around. That's not... It is. Lucas has the emails. We have the evidence. You can't talk your way out of this. Her voice changed, became softer, more vulnerable. I miss you, sweetheart. I miss my son. You don't get to miss me. You don't get to play the victim here. You're the one who broke this. I love you. If this is what your love looks like, I don't want it. He hung up. Then he blocked her number. Was that too harsh? He asked me. No, it was necessary. Over the next week, the family fallout intensified. Lucas forwarded us an email chain where various relatives were comparing notes. Cousin Jennifer was furious. She'd spent 2 years thinking we'd blown off her baby shower. Uncle Mark's wife had assumed we were too good for family dinners. Aunt Diane had been hurt by what she thought was our rejection of her book club invitations. One by one, they were realizing the truth, and one by one, they were reaching out to apologize. But the damage was done. 3 years of believing we were the problem had created distance that couldn't be erased by a simple, sorry. We were polite in our responses, but cautious. How do you rebuild trust with people who'd believe the worst about you? Rachel called, crying. I should have known something was wrong. You were never like that before you got married. You were always the first one to show up to family stuff. It should have been obvious. She's very good at manipulation, I told her. Don't beat yourself up. But I'm your sister. I should have had your back. You do now, that's what matters. Ethan's father called with updates. His mother had agreed to see a therapist, but only individual counseling. She'd refused couples therapy, insisting there was nothing wrong with their marriage. He'd moved into the guest room anyway. How is she? Ethan asked, hating himself for caring, oscillating between denial and rage. She keeps saying everyone is overreacting, that she was just trying to protect the family. The therapist has her work cut out for her. 2 weeks after Thanksgiving, we received a letter in the mail. My mother-in-law's handwriting, 4 pages long. Ethan stared at the envelope for a full minute before opening it. The letter was a masterpiece of deflection. She acknowledged making some mistakes, but spent most of the pages explaining her reasoning. How alone she'd felt when Ethan got married, how she'd been replaced in his life, how I'd never really tried to bond with her, how the family was ganging up on her unfairly. There was no real apology, no acknowledgement of the harm she'd caused, just justifications wrapped in victim language. She doesn't get it, Ethan said flatly. Even now, she doesn't get it. He wrote back, 1 page, direct and clear. What you did was abusive. You manipulated me, you lied to my family, and you made my wife feel worthless. Until you can take actual responsibility without justifications, we have nothing to discuss. Don't contact us again. We didn't hear from her for a month. Then, on Christmas Eve, she showed up at our apartment. We saw her through the peephole, standing in the hallway with a wrapped present and tears streaming down her face. We didn't open the door. She knocked for 10 minutes before finally leaving, the present sitting on our doormat. Inside was a photo album she'd made, pictures of Ethan as a child, her handwritten notes about each memory. The last page had a photo of the two of them at his college graduation, her arm around him, both of them smiling. Underneath, she'd written, I gave you everything. I just wanted to be part of your life. Ethan closed the album. She still thinks this is about her. What do you want to do? I asked. I want to have a mother who sees me as a person, not a possession. I want a mother who's happy I found love, not threatened by it. I want a mother who would never, ever do what she did. But you can't have that. No, I can't. He put the album in a box in our closet, said he wasn't ready to throw it away, but wasn't ready to look at it either. We spent Christmas with Rachel and Lucas. They'd both decided to skip their mother's traditional holiday gathering. Aunt Diane and Uncle Mark joined us too, along with a handful of cousins who'd reached out to apologize. It was small, awkward at first, but honest in a way family gatherings never had been before. This is weird, Lucas said, looking around our tiny apartment. Good weird, but weird. It's the first family event we've actually been invited to in 3 years, Ethan pointed out. God, when you say it like that, Rachel shook her head. How did we not see it? Because she was very good at making it seem like your choice, I said. That's how gaslighting works. Aunt Diane raised her glass. To new traditions, to honesty, and to actually inviting people to things. We drank to that. In January, Ethan's father called. I'm filing for separation. The words hung in the air. I wanted you to hear it from me first, he continued. I've tried. God knows I've tried. But she refuses to see a couples therapist. She won't acknowledge what she did. Last week, I found out she started telling people that you and Lucas ganged up on her, that you hacked her computer to frame her. Jesus, Ethan muttered. I can't live with someone who's that divorced from reality. I can't watch her destroy more relationships. And honestly, I need to figure out who I am outside of managing her emotions. I'm sorry, Dad. Don't be. This has been a long time coming. I just didn't want to see it. 3 days later, my mother-in-law called from a number we didn't recognize. Ethan answered without thinking. Your father is leaving me, she sobbed. My whole family is falling apart, and it's all because of that dinner. All because Lucas went through my private things. All because you spent 3 years lying and manipulating everyone around you, Ethan interrupted. This is not our fault. This is not Lucas's fault. This is the consequence of your own actions. But I'm alone now. Everyone hates me. Then maybe it's time to look at why. I was just trying to protect what was mine. I was never yours to protect. I'm a person, not a possession. I'm your mother. And that should have meant you wanted me to be happy. Instead, you tried to control me. And when you couldn't, you tried to destroy my happiness so I'd come back to you. She was full-on wailing now. I don't know how to fix this. Start by telling the truth. Not your version where you're the victim, but the actual truth. Admit what you did. Apologize without qualifications. Get real help. Not just therapy sessions where you complain about how everyone is treating you unfairly. I have been getting help. Are you being honest with your therapist? Silence. That's what I thought. Ethan's voice was tired. I can't do this anymore, Mom. I can't keep having the same conversation where you refuse to take responsibility. When you're ready to actually face what you did, you know where to find me. Until then, please don't call. He blocked that number too. February brought more family realignment. Uncle Mark hosted a Sunday dinner and invited us with 2 weeks' notice via text, phone call, and a physical invitation in the mail. Just making absolutely sure you know you're invited, he wrote. We went. It was strange being at a family gathering where people actually wanted us there, where conversation flowed naturally, where no one was walking on eggshells. This is what it could have been, Ethan said on the drive home. All those years, this is what I missed. We both missed it. Do you think she'll ever understand? I thought about it. I think there's a version of your mom who could understand, who could face what she did and genuinely try to change, but I don't know if she'll let herself become that person. Part of me still hopes she will. That's okay. You can hope for her to change while still protecting yourself from who she is now. In March, Rachel got engaged. She agonized over whether to invite their mother to the wedding. On one hand, she's still our mom, she told us over dinner. On the other hand, I don't trust her not to make a scene or try to sabotage things. What does your fiancé think? I asked. He thinks I should do whatever feels right for me, which is sweet but unhelpful. She laughed without humor. I keep thinking about your wedding, how she probably poisoned that for you. Ethan and I exchanged glances. We'd never told anyone, but his mother had shown up 2 hours late to our wedding ceremony. She'd claimed traffic, but we later found out she'd been at brunch with a friend. She made it clear we weren't her priority, I said carefully. But you get to make your own choices. If you want her there, invite her. If you don't, don't. Either way, we'll support you. Rachel ended up inviting their mother with conditions. She had to attend 3 family therapy sessions with Rachel first, and she couldn't bring a +1 who would take her side. Their mother refused. I don't need therapy to attend my daughter's wedding, she'd said. This is manipulative and cruel. Rachel cried for 2 days, then sent out invitations without her mother's name. Ethan's father attended. He looked lighter somehow, despite the sadness in his eyes. She's not doing well, he told us quietly. She's lost weight, barely leaves the house, but she still won't admit she did anything wrong. That's not our responsibility to fix, Ethan said. I know. I just thought you should know. The wedding was beautiful. Lucas gave Rachel away. Aunt Diane cried through the whole ceremony. Uncle Mark's toast mentioned family being about choice and love, not just blood. We danced and laughed and celebrated, and for the first time in 3 years, no one was whispering about our absence from family events. Because we weren't absent anymore. In June, I found out I was pregnant again. We debated telling anyone, scared of jinxing it, scared of another loss. But at 10 weeks, we told Rachel and Lucas. At 12 weeks, we told Ethan's father. At 16 weeks, after all the tests came back clear, we made a general announcement. My mother-in-law found out through Facebook. She called from yet another new number. I hear congratulations are in order, she said, her voice stiff. Thank you, I replied carefully. I hope this time you'll let me be a grandmother. The presumption in that sentence, the implication that we'd kept her away before, the assumption she had a right to this baby, made my blood boil. We'll see, I said. We're taking things one day at a time. I've changed, you know. I've been working on myself. I'm glad to hear that. So maybe we could get together, talk things through, start fresh. Has your therapist told you you're ready for that? Pause. I don't see why I need permission from a therapist to see my own family. Because every time we talk, you make it about you. You deflect and justify instead of taking responsibility. Until you can have a conversation that doesn't center your pain and your victimhood, we're not ready to reconnect. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You're so hostile to me. I'm protecting myself and my child. There's a difference. She hung up. Ethan found me crying in the bathroom. What happened? I told him. We don't have to let her in, he said firmly. We don't have to expose our kid to that toxicity. But what if we're being too harsh? What if she really has changed? Then she'll prove it over time. But we don't owe her access to our baby just because she's sorry she got caught. Our daughter was born in January, 3 years and 2 months after that Thanksgiving dinner that changed everything. She was perfect. Tiny and loud and absolutely perfect. Rachel and Lucas visited the hospital. Ethan's father came with flowers and tears. Aunt Diane brought food. Uncle Mark set up a college fund. My mother-in-law sent a package, baby clothes and a card that said, "To my granddaughter." We sent a thank you note. Polite, distant, nothing more. When our daughter was 3 months old, Lucas called. Mom's in the hospital. She had a breakdown. The doctors think she needs inpatient treatment. We visited once. She looked small in the hospital bed, older than her 62 years. When she saw us and the baby, she started crying. She's beautiful, she whispered. Thank you. I've lost so much time. 3 years of your marriage, this baby's first months. All because I couldn't. Her voice broke. I'm in a program now. Real therapy, not just an hour a week. They're making me face things I've been running from my whole life. That's good, Ethan said carefully. I wrote you both letters. Real ones this time. Real apologies. My therapist helped me understand the difference between explaining and justifying. She looked at us with more clarity than I'd seen in years. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't even know if I deserve the chance to try. But I wanted you to know I finally see it. What I did. The harm I caused. The years I stole from all of us. The letters came a week later. 7 pages each. Detailed accounts of her actions. Acknowledgement of the pain she'd caused. No justifications. No, but you have to understand. Just raw, honest accountability. It didn't erase 3 years of hell. It didn't undo the damage, but it was a start. We started small. Supervised visits once a month, phone calls where she asked about us instead of making everything about her feelings. Baby steps towards something that might eventually look like reconciliation. Do you think we'll ever be okay? Ethan asked after one visit. I think we'll be different, I said. We'll never have the relationship we might have had if she hadn't done what she did. But maybe we can build something new, something honest. Is that enough? I don't know yet. Ask me in a year. Our daughter is 2 now. She calls my mother-in-law Grandma Marilyn and sees her twice a month. The visits are good. Careful, but good. She's working hard in therapy. She's rebuilding relationships with Lucas and Rachel. She's learning to respect boundaries. She'll never be the mother-in-law I wanted, the one who welcomed me with open arms and treated me like a daughter. Too much has happened. Too many lies, too much pain. But she's trying. And maybe that's all any of us can do. Try to be better than we were. Try to face the damage we've caused. Try to build something real from the ashes of what we destroyed. Last Thanksgiving, we hosted dinner. Rachel, Lucas, Ethan's father, Aunt Diane, Uncle Mark, and yes, my mother-in-law. She asked before coming. She brought food she knew we liked. She complimented my cooking. She held our daughter and cried, but happy tears this time. As we sat around the table, actually invited, actually wanted, I thought about that Thanksgiving 3 years ago. The question that changed everything. Why have you never invited us? Such a simple question. Such devastating consequences. But also, such necessary consequences. Because sometimes families need to break before they can heal. Sometimes the truth has to burn everything down so something real can grow in its place. My mother-in-law still has bad days. Days where she backslides into old patterns, makes things about herself, plays the victim. But now when we point it out, she catches herself, apologizes, tries again. It's not perfect. It never will be. But it's honest. And after 3 years of lies, honesty feels like everything. Ethan squeezed my hand under the table. Our daughter babbled happily in her high chair. Rachel laughed at something Lucas said. Aunt Diane argued good-naturedly with Uncle Mark about politics. This was family. Messy, imperfect, broken, and rebuilt, but real. Finally, beautifully real.